Property taxes in California are something that I'd say is maybe the number one thing that homebuyers are confused about in their first year of homeownership. And the reason for that is there's a couple things in California that are a little unusual. And the first one is the time period of taxes. So our tax year in California is July 1st through June 30th. So it's exactly 6 months off from the calendar year. And in California, taxes are due twice per year. So they're due in March, and in March, those are the taxes for January 1st through June 30th, and they're due again in November. And those are the taxes for July 1st through December 31st. The other thing about property taxes, and this is something that's great in California, is that there's a cap on how much they can go up. So when you buy a home, and we'll use an easy example, $500,000, even if next year property values go wild and now your house is worth $600,000, your taxes will not go up by that proportioned amount. Property taxes are only allowed to go up 2% per year. And that's really a great long-term ownership thing when thinking about that 10-year time horizon, because it means this is a controlled cost. It's really not going to change that much over the next 10 years. And that's a wonderful thing. The other thing that's very important to know about taxes in California is that they can vary significantly per property. So there's sort of a basic 1%, and then there's some add-ons, and it's those add-ons that can vary. Some new communities can actually have a double tax rate because of those add-ons. There's a couple things that can result in a big variance in closing costs, and a perfect example is this. If you are putting 10% down or less on a home, it is required that your property taxes and homeowner's insurance are part of your mortgage payment. And the way the lender does this is, if you remember, property taxes are paid twice a year. So you think, well, how does that work? If I pay my property taxes monthly, but I know they're only charged by the county twice a year. Well, what your lender will do is they'll take that extra money that was part of your payment and they'll put it in a little savings account. And they'll just hold on to that money. And then when November rolls around and those taxes are due, they'll cut a check to the county for those taxes on your behalf from that account. The reason why this can make a big difference in your closing costs is the lender needs some money to start that account up when it first begins. So for example, if you close in October and you know the first payment for taxes is due in November, well, they're not gonna have enough money in that account. They need to charge you some money up front when it closes. So even the month that you close can vary what your closing costs are. Usually when we get a better idea at the beginning of the process, we do these iterative estimates. So for example, when we first sit down and talk, we'll give you a conceptual idea of what your closing costs and what you can expect. When you find a home, we'll give you a much closer estimate, and when we open escrow. And then as we go through that escrow process over the next 30 days, we'll be able to narrow that down and get tighter and tighter with our estimate. And finally, ultimately, when you close, we should within a week be within a couple $100s of what it's actually going to be.